Good evening and welcome to the debate show episode 6. I'm Gav Mack, that's Dylan Murphy, and that's Alex Osborne. Hello, gentlemen.
What's happening? How are we?
Hello, gentlemen.
Mate, I'm just sat here in me smoker's jacket. Feel like I need to because there's deals happening, and I kind of like it. But we'll talk about those a little bit later on. So let's get some housekeeping out the way as always. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. www.youtube.com/2top football is going on the bottom of your screen right now. Make sure you download Soccer Manager 2021. It's available on the App Store and on Google Play. And did you know if you put two at top into Google, our name comes up first, as proven by someone who works at BT, who knows who we are, which is great because I have no idea who he is, but it's lovely. Our name's getting out there. Anyway, it's a debate show. We've got some questions. Sorry, I just glanced over and Thomas Partey is having his medical right now at Arsenal training ground. But I'm not excited in any way, shape or form. We will be joined later on by Tom Overend, massive Chelsea fan and founder and creator of All Things Chelsea. But in the meantime, let's get some questions done. Do you think Tammy Abraham, Ben Chilwell and Jadon Sancho should receive the same treatment as Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden?
Why? What have I missed something? What's happened?
Oh my God, where you been?
I'm the same as Dylan. What's going on?
Where the hell have you two been today? I've been working all day. I still know this. Right, so the long and short of it is, it was Tammy Abraham's 23rd birthday. Yeah. Okay. And he didn't know that there was a surprise party for him. And
surprise Thomas party.
It was a surprise birthday party for him, and there was more than 6 people there. So they've had this little shindig. Apparently, everyone was temperature checked as normal, and everything was done in the right way. But these England stars all knew about it, and they were all there with friends and family. The number of people there, I'm not quite sure. However, there's still a lot of people there, and they are still in the England squad. So should they be given the same treatment as Greenwood and Foden?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you can't have one rule for one and another rule for others. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, the only thing I can actually say about that is I completely agree. You can't have like one rule for, but the only thing is Greenwood and Foden, they were actually out representing England in a different country when they done it. Apart from that, that's the only thing I can see that's different. Do you know what I mean? That's it. You're breaking the guidelines. Like, you're meant to be role models.
For me, I think it's a bit of a weird one because at the end of the day, Tammy Abraham in particular didn't actually know about it.
Yeah. So we
weren't aware of it. So then, is it really his fault?
No.
I think it's a bit harsh. Stephen Cotton, who's watching the show, who's part of the family. Bonjour, thanks for watching. He says that Dortmund are fuming at Sancho for not playing for a couple of weeks due to illness, and then rocks up to the party. So, should he be reprimanded?
Yeah, because obviously, is he in England because England are playing this week, or?
Yeah, he's in England.
I was going to say, because if he's just flown out from Germany to come to a party, then that's taking the Michael, isn't it?
Alex?
Well, I've got to wonder on part of Cotton's messaging there, because obviously United are trying to get Sancho. Maybe he's still clinging on to hope that they will get him before the deadline. But if obviously all of that is conspired, then yeah, he hasn't been a professional in terms of what Dortmund would like him to do. But I suppose there's always extenuating circumstances that we don't know the details of, really.
What do you think, Gav?
Because it's a weird one because they're still part of the group still. They just have to go and quarantine elsewhere. and then for me, they're still allowed to be part of the team. Like I said, for Chilwell and Sancho, I think is a bit naughty. But for Tammy Abraham, he weren't aware. He didn't know anything about it. So why should he be punished for, as far as he's concerned, he's turning up to see a couple of his friends and then he opens the door and all his friends and family are there. Now, I want to know who leaked it in the first place. Because knowing what has already happened to Greenwood and to Foden, why would you put yourself in that situation?
That's the thing. When you're rich, mate, you got a lot of people who they'll try and stab you in the back just for a little bit of money, mate. You know what I mean? All you got to do is look at what Jamie Vardy's wife was doing to Rooney's for many, many years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's yeah. I think I personally think that Greenwood and Foden should their form hasn't really justified them being part of this England setup. But in terms of the players and the player ability, I think both of those should be in this squad anyway. I think their punishment has already been served by them being sent home.
Yeah.
And that's my thoughts on it. What does Glenn say? Sorry, Alex, I just cut you out there a second. You're still there, though. They still know the rules, Glenn says. Thanks for watching as well. Should be the same treatment, regardless if it's a punishment or not. They've mingled with people outside their bubble, so it's not safe for the rest of the England squad.
It's true.
Yeah, that's exactly. Bogle has said it word for word, basically. It should be the same punishment that Foden and Greenwood received. But I feel like this is just a bit of a whole lot of fuss about nothing, really, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, we say they're role models, but is that in their contract? Is that what they sign up to do? No, they sign up to play football and train for their football club. The fact that they are supposedly role models is just an extracurricular that's been forced upon them that they shouldn't have to be forced upon them. They're still human beings. They're still living their lives. Okay, yes, they have to live by the rules that's been set in place, but this is just a whole lot of nothing as far as I'm concerned.
But they do get when they're young, though, they get taught how to work with media and stuff like that, to work so like you're saying, like they just turn out to be football players, but they get taught from in the academies on how to become these role models, sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's how they try and teach them.
That's answering questions, isn't it? No. If I was a football club, I'm not signing a player because he's a good role model. I'm signing him because he's a good football player, not because he's a good role model.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be a good role model because it's all part of the mantra of playing for the club. You know, so it's all part of the finances side of things. You know, if you're a role model for that club, it's going to aid the club financially as well. So therefore, you need to make sure that you are professional at all times. I think that's what it's more is about professionalism, and I think that these. As I say, I can't really blame Tammy Abraham much. I do blame Ben Chilwell and Sancho because they were in on it. They knew what the surprise was. So they should know better, and their professional outlook should be the same. They should be talking to each other and be like, do you really think it's a really good idea to be doing this? You know, if there's us three going into us three going somewhere, and you know Cotton comes along and you know a few other people in our group, but that makes it 7 or 8, we will all be asking each other, do you really think this is a good idea? Well, I personally will say, do you think this is a good idea to be doing this because there's 8 of us?
Yeah,
just see what I mean. So I don't know, I think it's a little bit naughty. And to think that Rio Ferdinand got banned for 6 months for getting a drugs getting a drugs test.
That's a completely different thing.
Yeah,
I'm comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah,
I get what he's trying to say, but that's just
that's irrelevant.
Stupid comment. Yeah.
That's nil and void.
Sorry, Colwell. Sorry about that. He did say, what about the Arsenal mascot? He wants to talk about that. Hey, I've got a piece on that a little bit later on anyway. It has to be the biggest news. Oh, wait, hang on. Is Liverpool Liverpool getting stuffed by Villa 7-2. And I'm not surprised he didn't actually say anything himself, because I know he's a Tottenham fan. And he could have said a few words about that as well, but he didn't. Right then, that's the end of that. Now, let's talk about Liverpool. I do actually have a question on Liverpool. So, the next question. Is Virgil van Dijk declining?
I think he just
I won't
needs a
come to you
rest.
first. No, you're a Liverpool fan. I won't come to you first. I'll come to you, Alex.
I don't think it's necessarily he's declining. I think what Virgil van Dijk, and I think this is something that's been throughout his career, and possibly why he was at Celtic first and then a little bit of Southampton before he did go to a bigger club, is there's always been noise surrounding him, rumours that he is not always completely fully motivated. So that when a fully motivated and determined Virgil van Dijk is on it, we can see how good he is. But when he's he's like, oh, this is a bit too easy for me, or do you know what, I don't feel it quite so much today. He's a little bit like lackadaisical, and then you get to see why he can be a little bit below standard. I think that's more a case of the fact that's happening right now, rather than the fact he's declining.
Can I jump in, lad? Yeah, because I think it's a mixture of a few things. I think yesterday was poor tactics. To be fair, lads, I don't think they're getting used to the high line. The high line was basically the midfield was so high up that it was the midfield. The defense had no cover. Plus, also,
it was like watching a Bundesliga game yesterday.
Yeah,
Liverpool were defending like a kamikaze Bundesliga team.
It was terrible.
They looked like Schalke last night.
But I'll be dead honest with you, lads. Saying is Virgil van Dijk declining is like saying it's like the Salah effect. Salah said if once you become like the PFA Player of the Year, that's it. It's just downhill from you. Salah got the highest goal scorer, and then everyone's saying he's crap. He still bangs. I rate him higher than Marnie in my eyes, right? But it's the same thing, like because of that season where he was unstoppable. One person dribbled past him, and then the season after. We won the Champions League. We won the league, and people still thinking, nah, he's not as good. This season, yeah, he's had a bit of a decline, but I think it's tactics. Me personally, we're still getting used to high line, and they need to scrap it off because we don't work well with it. We haven't got the fullbacks. We haven't got the fullbacks to be playing a higher line.
Since the beginning of the 18-19 season. No, he's
made the most mistakes.
More errors that have led directly to goals than any other player in the Premier League.
I don't know. I don't believe those kind of stats, really. I mean, what do they count as an error? I mean, what can they count as an error, really? Those stats can be, I think, are so misleading.
Well, this is the thing. I'd like to see the stats before he turned up and how many mistakes were made to when he turned up to the whole team being strengthened. I think that the high ball needs to be scrapped off soon as.
Example, literally tried to control the ball and led directly to a goal, and not just that. It could have been more where Jack Grealish, who was an absolute boy in that game, and turned him inside out and then megged him, and it was only the fact that that Barkley didn't have his shooting boots on straight away in that game. So
okay, well, I get what Stephen's saying there. The stat is literally mistakes leading to goals, but who are they accrediting the error to? Right. So, for example, you could have a striker loses the ball, and bam, 2 passes later, the opposition team has scored a goal. No one else has made a mistake. Does that error go down against the striker, or is it against the error of the defender who didn't follow the striker's run? Or just because it's against a particular player doesn't mean that's his error that's led to the goal. That's what I mean. It's a misleading. How do they measure it?
How many reflective goals as well was there as well, lads? I feel like that
was it. Yeah,
that's got nothing to do with Van Dijk. They haven't got anything to do with Van Dijk yesterday.
No. I know it's got nothing to do with Van Dijk, but I'm just saying, like yesterday with the Fingo, I feel like, did you see the way that Fabinho's deflection? He's literally got his back to try and avoid any arm contact. this is how I feel like. You know, like the way Leicester last week, when they beat City, they got 3 penalties. They got 4 deflections because the players are literally getting their arms out the way and they're not defending the same.
They also hit the woodwork a couple of times.
Yeah, they did.
And to be fair, in the first half,
Barkley
should have had a hat trick.
Yeah, he should have. I'm not taking anything away from them. They did. They took the piss out of us, like.
Yeah, I mean, as Dylan's put out, that is, to me, that is an error by Fabinho, and is that counted against him as an error against goal? Because he's gone poorly to try and block the shot there, half turned, and it's deflected and gone in. Now, if he'd have stood his ground and been more sort of planted in the floor, the ball would have hit him and it wouldn't have gone in. So does that not go against him as an error for the goal? I bet it doesn't.
This is not an error, just poor defending. But like this is going down.
That's just so vague, though. That is so vague.
Hey, look, I'm not the one like putting Van Dijk's Willie in my mouth, you know. But like, I love Van Dijk, and I will still class him as a world-class defender, and I really do believe he is. He's in the top 3 defenders in the world right now, in my opinion. The issue is he has been so complacent over the last year. And this does include the before lockdown and the run up to Liverpool win the title. We knew Liverpool were going to win the title. It was obvious. We knew that. There was no denying that. But just Van Dijk's approach, and I'll see what you mean about the motivation. Just an approach to games. It's almost like there's a expectation. You're just going to walk in. Yeah, we're going to win this. I don't really need to do whatever. I don't really need to do anything. Just his reactions as well from when they did go 1-0 down. 2-0 down, 3-1 down. His reactions weren't of a.
It wasn't until it was 5.
It wasn't a leader who turned around and said, "Right, come on, we need to do something about it here." And
he's never been that kind of player, has he? Really, if you look out throughout his career, he's never been that kind of player. He's always been I'll lead by being just really good.
No,
you get some players who are like that, don't you?
We used to say Henderson's not the captain, Van Dijk's the captain. If you watch him play. He's like that. This is what I said when Thiago played against Chelsea. And I said this. Well, you know Thiago's good when he's telling Van Dijk what to do because Van Dijk tells everyone else what to do. You know what I mean? Henderson might be the motivator in the team, might be like that. Come on, the engine. But when it comes to like leadership and telling people what to do, Van Dijk's the guy in our team, and that's why I'm saying like it's more than just defending, lads. It's leadership and stuff like that. Like, okay, Sergio Ramos, I'd say Sergio Ramos the best defender in the past decade. Yeah. But he's had 2 or 3 bad seasons, lads. Come on. It's not all the best have bad seasons.
Yeah, but like the thing is, if Sergio Ramos makes a mistake, he'll turn around. Or well, he'll make a mistake. If one of his teammates makes a mistake, he'll turn around and rally and moan and get people going again. And Van Dijk did do that. He did that at Celtic. He did that to a degree at Southampton, and he's been doing that since he's been at Liverpool. But over the last 12 months or so, probably just under, he hasn't. Yeah. And this is why the question is out there: is he declining, or is he getting?
Leadership comes in all forms, though. Just because someone shouts and moans doesn't make them instantly a leader. It just means they shout and moan.
So what was happening beforehand when he was giving like constructive advice or whatever, you know, or like leading the team and going like, come on, get in there, grabbing everyone by the scruff of their neck. And why is he not doing that now?
Even look at the comments before he turned up to now, and like the leadership there, lads. Like that's all you got to do, lads. Like it's mad. He wasn't there. We had one of the worst defense. Turned up, we got the best.
Lack of crowds and no pre-season is not doing anyone any favours. Not seeing any great defensive performances by anyone this season. I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree.
Villa doing defensively. Aston Villa smashing it, mate.
So we've got 2 Liverpool fans knocking around. Well, 3 Liverpool fans here knocking around. We've got you in the video, of course, Dylan. We've got Jamie Watson, who was on it last week, by the way. That's whose comments there were. Thank you very much for commenting, Jamie. And then my boy Tabs as well. He disagrees with me. Why do you disagree? What's he doing? What's Van Dijk doing or not doing? You know, I would like to see.
Gav, I will agree with you this season, but I had this discussion with my dad yesterday. I think Alisson and everyone's not even like turning up. It's like they're still hungover.
But here's the thing. You can't. The season you guys, or the run that you guys have been on for the last couple of seasons,
Yeah.
it's almost physically possible to carry on that, keep going. So it's gonna any slight drop in that is gonna make it look a lot worse than it actually is. Okay, yesterday was a freak result. That's never gonna happen again.
No.
That is, as you said, three deflections? Was there a penalty in there? Is there 4 deflections? There's a penalty there. And here's the thing: Aston Villa have made some really astute signings. We've mentioned this, Gav, haven't we, previously on the show? That we think that they've made some good signings. They've got Ross Barkley, for example. Ross Barkley can make himself look like a world-class midfielder and somebody who wouldn't look like get in a Sunday League side in the same game, even in the same move. He could do that, right? And so he can have his own day. They've got Jack Grealish. We know that he's a good player. They've got John McGinn. They've got a really good midfield. And unfortunately, Liverpool were dropped a little bit. Aston Villa were high from what happened. And that happens. I mean, let's hold off before we start going and declaring which players decline and this player's decline and Liverpool are in free fall. Let's just hold off before that actually happens.
This is the thing.
I think it's been going for more than yesterday's game. This is the thing.
No,
I think it's.
I don't know. I don't agree with you there, mate. I really don't.
Opinions here, but I don't think that Van Dijk has been at the races as much as he in your Champions League winning season. He was better for me. He was a better player in that season than he was last season when you won the title.
Back to what I was saying about the Mohamed. Back to the way I was saying about the Mohamed Salah effect. So Mohamed Salah turned up, right, and within his first season became the highest ever goal scorer in the Premier League. Yeah, right. And in a single season. Then Virgil van Dijk turns up and does not get dribbled past one person, dribble past him. So when you've got these two players who have breaking records, you all of a sudden you sit them in that remark and you think they're going to sit there forever. There's going to be times when they're going to go like that. Salah's might be banging 20 goals a season, but 20 goals from the wing, boys, that's impressive, lads.
Oh yeah, I do not deny that. I do not deny that.
It's still the same as Van Dijk.
About yesterday, it's more. It goes deeper than yesterday. He doesn't agree with the fact that I think that the 18-19 season was a better season for Van Dijk than it was last season.
Yeah,
it's opinions. It really is, and I love the fact that you don't agree because it's always boring when we sit here and go, yeah, that's right. But it's I'm not seeing the Van Dijk of. Come on, boys, let's do stuff. When Liverpool normally go 1-0 down, he's there shouting, telling everyone to get on with their stuff, and Liverpool turn it back. In the Arsenal game, only last week, Arsenal went 1-0 up, and literally, Van Dijk turns round, Everton Jeffs. Next thing you know, it's 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah.
Prime example, so...
Hey. As well, Gav, can we just finish on this one? United always recruited so in different positions. So like once they won the league, they signed new players in that position to give competition. As you say in there, Virgil could now think I'm comfortable now. I am Virgil van Dijk. I am Liverpool's best centre half. I can relax, sort of thing. You know what I mean? He looks next to him. Who's my competition? Oh, this 22-year-old Joe Gomez.
I think Joe Gomez was the weak link last night.
Fabinho needs to sit in there.
Yeah, he was the reason why
every
Liverpool
pass was
looked
bad.
very
Every
shaky.
pass was short. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if we get this lad from from Schalke today, which is how we are going to get him. But if we get him, it's stepping us up big time.
Very true. Right then, before we move on, I would like to introduce Tom Overend to the group. Hello, Tom. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Very glad to be back, mate. Very glad to be back.
Hey, Tom. I freaking love this guy. Honestly, if you don't know who Tom Overend is, then where the hell have you been on Twitter, mate? I really just can't. I don't know where you've been. Before we do move on, though, there was just one more comment that I wanted to go through. Peter Jones put he had the quality of a captain last year in regards to jeering them on this season, not so much. Hopefully, we'll change and we'll get over the next few games. Now, the next game that Liverpool have is against Everton, and Everton have flown out the tracks. Now, we don't normally do it on this show, but we are going to. So let's go to this.
What are Everton?
What do Everton need to do to ensure Champions League football? Tom, you're new to the group. I'll come to you first, Tom.
For me, there are a couple of positions. Firstly, I think for top four, you need a degree of squad depth, and I think Everton are building it by bringing in Godfrey and possibly Tamori coming in on loan, which is good. I think, to be honest with you, they need an upgrade in the goalkeeper department. I'm not sure Pickford's good enough. He might let in goals. He might cost them 10 points. That is the difference between fourth and sixth, unfortunately. I think they've got a very, very good first team, but I do worry if they have to, if they have a bad year with injuries, or if, fatigue sets in as the season goes along. A little bit like Leicester last season, maybe.
Alex?
Tom kind of covered it quite well there, to be fair. The one thing that's going to serve Everton well in this is the fact that they don't have any European distractions as well. So you can remember when Chelsea won the league under Conte, Leicester winning the league under Ranieri, they were just pretty much playing the Premier League, weren't they? Week in, week out. And then the cup competitions, they got knocked out quite early, so they were just able to focus on the league. So if that happens to Everton this season, the squad depth might be not so much of an issue because there's not as many games, there's not many taxing on the players that they do have. And as Tom said, they've got a really good first 11 minus the goalkeeper. I think we can all kind of agree I think that's their serious weak link. But they've got a strong midfield, and in today's game of football, if you've got a strong midfield, you stand a chance against pretty much anybody in the league, really.
Liverpool fan Dylan.
I completely agree with all you lads. The balance is that they've got so much balance in that team. It's just Jordan Pickford, and as you were saying on Match of the Day, Gav, you slate him to Ian Wright slated him to like proper slate him, didn't you? Did you watch it?
I just love like you just refer me to Ian Wright. I love that. That's crew love there. That's crew love. Look, Everton, we say it every year, hence why we have a separate section on each show of what are Everton. We don't know what they are. They've come out in the blocks and they've looked brilliant. They've signed midfielders. They needed still in midfield for ages. They were playing 4-4-2 for a lot of the time, and then putting like Sigurdsson and Tom Davies in midfield doesn't work, or Andre Gomez and Tom Davies doesn't work, and then they didn't have the right setup, and then when it was going wrong, they would sub everyone off and they would have like a 4-1-5 formation, just throw everyone forward and try and get a goal. Didn't work. Now they've got structure. They've got three brilliant midfielders. Alan is still, until Thomas Partey signs the team, is the best midfielder in the Premier League right now.
I'd say Decore, mate. Decore is just as every bit as good as Alan is for Everton.
Decore already, since being at Everton, is finding the form that he had once again the 18-19 season. Because last year he sort of dipped off a little bit. Watford weren't really at the races, were they? But that year before, how much did we wax lyrical about Decore? Every single week, and it was like a Yaya Toure. Yeah, and now Calvert-Lewin is scoring goals for fun as well, and he doesn't look like, because before when he was scoring goals it'd be like just bounce off him a little bit and it would just roll in, and now he looks like a complete centre forward. So I think as long as they don't get too many injuries, I actually think they are sound for top four, because they will outscore opposition as well.
When you see these players like Cameron Lewin, right? Yeah. He's great with his head. He's unreal with his head. But you look at some of the best players with the head. Benteke, Andy Carroll. They don't really last that long, though, Gav. You've got to be good with your feet as well. don't get me wrong. I've said from the start I like him, and I did from the first episode we done. I said I like
Northampton Town legend, mate. He is on loan. He was on loan at the Cobblers once upon a time. Northampton Town legend. But yeah, no, I think they're. No one's guaranteed anything. You know, we thought Leicester were going to finish third. They ended up coming outside.
I will say this
expense.
I will say this about Everton. I will say this about them. When it comes to big games, because they haven't really had a big game yet, have they, Everton?
No.
I mean, I suppose Spurs away, that was first game of the season.
First time they beat the top six.
If results are to go against anything, it could be the first day. But I will say, when it comes to the big games, Carlo Ancelotti, with his experience, is going to be absolutely vital, along with the players that they've got. They're going to fare well. So they have absolutely every chance. In terms of the expense, well, it's looking, obviously it's early days, but it's looking like it's going to be a Man United's expense, really, isn't it?
What I will say about Ancelotti, and why I'm so happy to see his Everton team do well, is that I remember seeing at Napoli, he was playing a 4-4-2 again, and it wasn't his style of football. It wasn't his game. And he came to Everton, and I was really scared he was doing it again. This 4-4-2 that's kind of a bit rudderless. And then he gets the players that he asks for and he wants. And I'm seeing the Carlo Ancelotti that I saw at Chelsea all those years ago, and the Ancelotti I saw at Milan, and to an extent at Madrid. And I think the thing is, they got a great deal for Doucouré. I think because Nigel Pearson was playing Doucouré as a number 10 last season, that was just weird. And Watford obviously getting relegated helped. And Ancelotti's got a team that he can build in his own sort of identity. He's got talent.
He's got freedom. That's what he's got. He's got freedom. Every other place, he's got expectations on him. He's come to Everton. It's like, this is yours. You know what I mean?
Everton, look at the tier level of teams that he's managed before. You're right. Everton they're not top tier.
Nope.
And what they're trying to do is make them become top tier. Now, I wanted Ancelotti at Arsenal, very well documented by me, but do you know what? I still would have taken him at Arsenal right now. But look, the thing, what I'm really enjoying with Everton at the moment is not necessarily Everton as such. It's more James Rodriguez, and James Rodriguez has had a real bad time of it over the last few years. He's not good enough to do this. He's not good enough here. He's declining. Is this, that, and the other. The 3 good seasons that we have seen him, because we saw him, of course, at the World Cup 2014. That's where he shot to fame, really and truly, for most people in Europe and in particular in England. He made that move to Real Madrid, and who was the manager there at the time? Ancelotti. Looked wonderful, played him in his right position. Ancelotti goes, and then his bit part, couldn't get in, didn't look right. Ancelotti ends up at Bayern. Who did he take there? James Rodriguez on loan. And how good did James Rodriguez look for that one season? Looked wonderful because he was playing in that role, just where he's nice and comfortable. As soon as he goes, where's James Rodriguez again? He's gone to Everton, gets to play in that hole again, and look how wonderful he is. It's an absolute joy to see in the Prem.
Well, we'll piggyback off that, Gav, and what Tom mentioned about Carlo being at Chelsea when he won the league with Chelsea. Was it about a decade ago? Wasn't it? Now,
2010. Yeah.
2010.
You look at the makeup of that Chelsea side, and you can look at it. The makeup of this Everton side, it's very, very similar. So you've got James Rodriguez as your Frank Lampard, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is your Didier Drogba, Alan is your Makelele.
Essien still?
Essien, sorry, yeah. Or you could say Doucouré is your Essien, really. Andre Gomez, kind of almost similar, like your Michael Ballack type of player. Richarlison is your Florent Melida.
Which one's Steve Sidwell?
That's Tom Davis, mate. That's Tom Davis.
Tom Davis. It's meant to be really good, but we want him to be better, but it's not quite there.
So Richarlison is your Florent Melida. So he's seriously, as Tom's made, it's a great comparison there to that Chelsea side that he had a decade ago. It's very similar makeup, and you could see how he's tried to build that Everton side out very similar to what he had 10 years ago.
The disrespect to Petr Cech there.
Hey,
but you can't always be the same, can you? Hey, look, Pickford's left-footed, Czech's left-footed. Just saying.
Hey. Well, apparently there's a couple of talks. One of Sergio Romero going there. In fact, we'll move on slightly actually, because the reason why I wanted to get Tommy involved as well, because I wanted to talk about transfers. And I did see a comment earlier on today from transfers, writing big. It's covering everyone's face, so I'll make it a little ticker tape going on the bottom so everyone can see what we're talking about. Right, so I did see a little comment earlier on from Adam Deering, who's watching this show, wondering where my yellow tie is. Well, I'm going to be on the Blues Boys Network at 9 o'clock, and I'm going to have my white shirt and my tie on for that, so don't worry. Hence why I'm just sitting here in my dressing gown, but I'm still rocking the yellow in the Jamaica colours. But transfers.
Remy boys.
Hey, right, yeah, transfers. Just sort of like finishing on Everton slightly, because their weak link, we know, is the goalkeeper. They need help there. There's talk of Sergio Romero going there, and the other one, which is a bit left field for me, was Paulo Gazzaniga. Now, if Gazzaniga was to go there, surely he wouldn't be the starting goalkeeper still.
For me, with the goalkeeper front, I find it crazy that they didn't go for Emi Martinez, because Martinez, I think, is better than an Aston Villa goalkeeper.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
100%.
We all love him. We are all still in pain. My missus is literally in there crying right now because he's still not here. You know what I mean? But,
He'll keep them in the Prem. Easy.
I think
might get him top 4.
I like Romero, but I don't think he can be. When's Romero last played a full season of football? Was it 2014-15?
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
I mean, that's why there's that risk of bringing in a keeper who's been a backup for so many years. Look at Valencia bringing in Silerson. You can do that if you want. There's no doubt that Silerson's a top keeper, but he's not played football week in, week out for a number of years.
You can say that about Emi Martinez, though. You know, he got lucky at the end of last season, and Arsenal got lucky in terms of the transfer with that, because if Arsenal were offered, I've seen him in cup games and stuff before, but that's it. And just the odd time he's filled in, and he's looked okay. Yeah. And if Arsenal were offered like 2-3 million for him, I'd have been like, all right. But that end of last season,
amazing.
He was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I honestly believe Arsenal feel more comfortable at the back when Martinez is there, more so than Leno. I like Leno. I'm not bashing on Leno. I think Leno is a fantastic goalkeeper. But in terms of presence and awareness and, you know, passing, I think Martinez should have stayed personally, and I'm quite upset about it as well. But like Everton would have been a great shout for him.
I think Martinez actually knew what it took to wear the shirt for Arsenal. And that was the respect that the defence gave him, was a kind of, I think he was the longest serving player at Arsenal.
Had few of those like that.
Close to it. And I think that meant that he really savoured that chance he got. And he looked, I think, at least as good as Leno was. And as I say, that's not bashing Leno.
You could just see by the emotion in his face, Gav. You know what I mean? We're talking before about like players who are passionate. He was literally crying his eyes out after winning the trophy for you. But we're talking.
Tabs. No, I will not let it go.
We're talking before about Sergio Romero, boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the thing his wife's put on Instagram?
No, what's she put?
She's put Sergio Romero worked hard for his club. Last trophy they won, they lifted it with him.
Romero or Martinez? You want about Martinez?
Romero.
Oh, Romero. Okay.
Yeah, because we were talking about Romero before, so I was just doing a little bit of searching there. It says so Sergio Romero worked hard for his club. Last trophy they won, they lifted it with him. He helped them reach four finals, semi-finals. And then he left. Then he was left on the bench only to lose them all. It's time to put respect on his name.
Yeah, I'll get that completely.
It's like he's now being overlooked by Henderson. You know what I mean? Like Henderson just came straight back in, and
Henderson is a fantastic goalkeeper. He's a backup, so to speak. In the last 2 seasons, he's been the number one, and he made such a difference to Sheffield United. Now, the difference that he made is very similar to the difference that Joe Hart made when Joe Hart was the goalkeeper at Birmingham.
Yeah.
And Birmingham came 9th that season as well, didn't they?
Wasn't it?
No, I think they came 9th and they got relegated the following season. So that means that Sheffield United are going to win the League Cup this year against Arsenal and go down. That's history repeating itself.
They haven't got Obi Martins.
They haven't got Obi Martins. Right.
I want to talk about transfers, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about Chelsea's transfers with Tom.
Yes. Okay. I was going to say that. I've just seen apparently Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been linked with going to Fulham. I'm not sure about that one, but that's a bit of a spurious one. But yeah, Tom, I don't know if you have any more insight on that.
Yeah, well, I want to put a little disclaimer out because I never know. I don't know anything. Everything I say is what I hear from other people I generally trust. But please don't think that I'm telling you that something's going to happen because I have no idea. With Loftus-Cheek, sorry, I just had to say that because I get so much rubbish sometimes on Twitter.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
With Loftus-Cheek, I think it will happen. From what I've seen, I think personally, and I've tweeted, don't do that, Gav Mac.
It's not true. I'm sorry.
Having my second and last appearance on your show.
Oh my god! No, we all scout on Twitter, don't we?
Loftus-Cheek talking about heartbreak when he went off that field in Massachusetts because he was playing in a charity game and broke his leg. My heart cried inside because I think he needs a loan like he had at Palace where he just builds his confidence back because he's not half the player he was. I mean, it didn't help that Lampard was playing him on the wing rather than as a centre mid. And I don't lie when I say that Kante, Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek.
Breaking news.
What's up?
Breaking news. Chris Smalling has joined Roma on a 3-year deal for worth 18 million.
God.
Deal for them.
What else is it night time as well? As another thing that was guaranteed to happen. Oh dear. Hey, look, Loftus-Cheek. I'll always love Loftus-Cheek. The first time I ever saw him was December the 21st. 2013. I did Chelsea versus Reading under 18s. I was refereeing then, and yes, it's a youth game, but these are two Premier League youth teams at the time, two Premier League teams, and Loftus-Cheek set up 5 and scored 1. And he reminded me of Yaya Toure, man. Like, literally, he was so tall in comparison to everyone else. He'd get the ball so deep and just wade through people like they weren't even there. And then just palm it off. And then Charlie Masonda, he was in that game as well. He bagged and stuff. And I was like, wow, man, this guy, if he ever makes it, he needs to make it. He is one of the best natural talents I've seen.
So I think I was there for his first Chelsea game. I think it was against Sporting Lisbon or somebody in that, or Maribor, I think, in that 2015 season. And what is so upsetting about Loftus-Cheek was, and I say this completely genuinely, that Sarri season, he got a lot of stick, but that midfield of Jorginho, Kante and Loftus-Cheek was so complete. I cannot tell you how much I loved that midfield. And the fact that he was forced to play Loftus-Cheek in that charity game. Obviously, he goes on, breaks his leg. And the fact he's been playing out of position since hasn't helped him. But he needs a season of football. For me, and I had a lot of Chelsea fans saying he's better than Fulham. And I actually, of course, I agree with them. Yeah, but I think he needs a run of games where he's not going to be the player he was for the first 5 or 10 games. I'm afraid I've seen him play since he's come back from injury. He's not the same player. The way he's going to become the player he was is by playing week in, week out, 30 league games. And I think we might see the player that we could have had there.
And what about your back line? Because I know you put a tweet out at the weekend, and there was that guy from Dubai. Didn't really take to me very well, did he? Because my issue was, it's not. I'm not saying that he should play there, but I was thinking, because Azpilicueta has played as a right centre half, a right side centre half in a back three, could he potentially play in a back four? Because you can't, you shouldn't be playing a back three right now anymore.
Yeah.
You should be playing a back four.
So I've heard a lot, I've seen a lot, and I've thought about that myself quite a bit. For me, firstly, I think at the moment he's our best right back at the club. I think he's playing better than Reece James at the moment, and quite a lot better than Reece James. As much as I love Reece James, don't have any other way. Second, I think, and I don't normally like to do this for quite a few reasons, but I will do it with Azpi as a centre back. I saw Sarri come and only really want to play him there as a very, very last resort. Conte didn't fancy it in a back four when he tried it, nor has Lampard. And I think that probably says that if three different managers of different styles didn't fancy it, I think it's probably the right thing. I think he's not quite got the power to be in a kind of back two.
That's it. He's not tall enough either. Just quickly, you noticed Gabriel's signing for Arsenal. You noticed straight away, especially in the game yesterday, I don't think he lost one duel in the air. He won every single header in the Premier, everything. And look how much difference that makes to your defence, because it stops the attack from gaining momentum. In fact, I think there was one occasion where he didn't win the ball in the air and the ball was flicked on and Sheffield United were almost in. But every other time he stopped it at source and it just went back the other way, and it just stops attacks dead. And unfortunately, I think that's what Azpilicueta doesn't quite have, does he?
And he's a good leader, but he's no John Terry or he's no Marcel Desailly. He was good.
Where'd you find those?
Yeah, I get that, but we have Thiago Silva.
I defended Thiago Silva massively on the signing of him. I was actually like, really think you should go get him, this, that, and the other. And I am no longer as convinced. I know it's only one game in that one particular.
One mistake.
Sorry, before we carry on, going back to our first question of the day, it's now broken that Tammy Abraham, Ben Chilwell, and Jadon Sancho will miss the game against England on Thursday, against Wales, on Thursday. So I don't know whether they need to quarantine or something, or whether they're just being kicked out. I don't know what the crack is with that one. But I think Chelsea, they focus too much on their front line. Yes, they have strengthened in the defensive area, but where you needed to strengthen, I don't think you have. You've got a new goalkeeper. Yes, needed that. We know that. You got a new left back. I'm not being funny. Marco Alonso, when you're playing the back three, is incredible.
Yeah.
When you're playing a back four, missing. Absolutely missing. Ben Chilwell could do both. So if you do change your system, you can do that.
Interesting story about Alonso that I'll contribute, because I don't know how many non-Chelsea fans will know this. In that West Brom game, 3-0 down at half-time, Lampard's never been as angry as he was at Alonso that half-time. He apparently bellowed at him in front of the whole team. He expected a reaction from Alonso after being substituted at half-time. Alonso instead goes and has a tantrum and wants to watch the second half from the team bus rather than being on the substitutes bench. He was that disturbed by Lampard's comments, and I think Lampard's basically binned him since then. I don't think we'll be seeing much of him at all now.
Oh dear. Dylan, go on, Alex.
I was just going to ask him about Declan Rice, because Chelsea have been linked with Declan Rice for a lot of this transfer window, and obviously as of yet it still hasn't happened. It's probably not going to happen now going into the last couple of hours. But where do you think Declan Rice, if you were to sign him, say in the January transfer window or next summer, where do you think Declan Rice fits into Chelsea, and who do you think kind of misses out from the midfield that you've got already?
So until very recently, I thought he would be the defensive midfielder to have two number 8s in front of him, so Mount and Havertz. I think Lampard's now wanting to play 4-2-3-1. I think he comes in for Jorginho, which I don't want. I love Jorginho.
Me too.
Lots of people don't rate him at all.
Yeah, Alex Osborne.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
If he came to Arsenal, Arsenal could play 4-3-3 and get top 4
and get over on a midfield. Yeah, there we go.
No. But let's go to Dylan and talk about Liverpool. Do you need? I know we're not much left of the transfer window, but do you need any more players in there? Do you need to get a replacement for Van Dijk?
I would have liked it. I would have liked a new striker. I would have liked a new striker, and I would have liked a defensive backup for a defensive backup for Gomez. Personally, I think Matip's good, but we've only got 3 centre halves now. Like good centre halves. I've just seen here, lads. The Dembele United deal is off, so just seen.
Don't think he's going to be going to Liverpool though. But I think that was a weird one anyway. Me and Alex are really excited about the idea of Thomas Partey coming. We're both really frustrated about the idea, about the situation of Hossein Mawar not going ahead, because they were both like key targets, and I know that Arsenal need to ship out a few players as well. But yeah, Alex, if it's just ends with Partey, are you going to be happy with the window for Arsenal?
Absolutely, because and I'm surprised that not any other clubs, knowing that Atletico Madrid would have a release clause on him, and they've clearly stated that they will not negotiate it unless the release clause, and when the release clause is met, the Atletico Madrid are no longer in the negotiations, because isn't it as is law in Spain, once because the registration is held with the league, isn't it, rather than the club. Once a release clause has been met, you pay the league the money then obviously gets transferred to the club, but at that point the negotiations with the club are over. So I'm surprised that not more clubs have gone in. Hang on, we've got this really, I would say, world-class midfielder available at such a price. 45. Why haven't more teams tried to go in for him? So I'm surprised. So that would be a massive coup for Arsenal. Yes, a while would have been the cherry on the cake, but it all depended on Arsenal being able to ship out more players, because it wasn't so much the money. It was more a case of the registration for having over 21 players over the age of 21 who are foreign in your team, and Arsenal obviously they're max there, which is why when Guendouzi has been confirmed to go to Hertha Berlin on loan, they've been able to then go, right, we can now bring in Thomas Partey, because everyone going on about Arsenal having any money, but they've just dropped 45 million like that. So that was always the case. That was always going to be the case. And it just hasn't happened, because Socrates hasn't gone, Kolasinac hasn't gone, they haven't been able to get rid of Ozil, they haven't got rid of Mustafi, but you'll see a lot of that, because next summer is when all their contracts end. So it'll be a big summer next summer for us.
Well, this is the thing, Gav, and I'll but me and you, Gav, we had this little talk about Partey, and we said, didn't we, he's your Patrick Vieira. Well, I said Patrick Vieira, you said it was the Gilberto,
yeah,
replacements, and it's after 15 years.
Well, 15 years for Vieira since he left, and I think Gilberto left in 09. 08 or 09, so it's a long time. Hey, look, I'm coming to that, Glenn. Go on,
throw one out for you, Gav. He could Partey's possibly what Abu Dhabi could have been.
What could have been, exactly, and it's devastating.
I love Diaby.
I did want to. I said we've got a couple of minutes left anyway, and yes, let's discuss Man United's failures in the transfer market. Oh my God, we should have done a whole show on this. If I'm honest, Man United are Manchester United. They are arguably the biggest club in world football. Why can't they get things done? What is going on? Is it a need for a director of football? Is it they don't do players not trust the idea of working with Solskjaer? Is the money not being filtered through? Like
Sure.
how's it? What's the crack?
I think, if you want my view, they've got no recruitment strategy. They don't look forward more than one window to go, right, I need to upgrade my left back. I need to upgrade my midfield. And instead of going for the best, like I would say Liverpool have done in the past, Chelsea have done in the past, and this window, Woodward out. Yeah, I would agree with you, Glenn.
Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, and the thing is, he has no strategy. He thinks, right, there's this good-looking lad called Traore. Let's get him because we need to satisfy the fans. You know, the fact they go for Cavani so late in the game, he's a great player, but is he really what they need when they've got, you know, Rashford, Mason Greenwood? It's not in that forward line that they need players. It's not in that forward line. And
Next Falcao.
I just don't get it. It's a fact that over so many years, they've not looked at that team and thought, who can we bring in? You know,
They've spent lots of money over the years, though, haven't they? You know, people are actually forgetting how much money they've been spending. They've overspent on a lot of players, a bit like Everton have. They've overspent on for what the players are. For instance, Maguire. Did they need to spend 80 million on Maguire? No, they didn't.
It's easy to overspend. Chelsea did it in 2017. You know, people saying Conte wasn't bagged. They spent They spent nearly 250 million on absolute rubbish. I can't bet.
No, but to buy. It's Chelsea's fault that people spend so big in the first place, though, mate.
Do you think?
No, yeah. I think that most recently the reason why people spend so much is PSG's fault. That signing of Neymar when they triggered the release clause, because hey, look, we've all played Football Manager. When we have a player, we don't want to let them go. We know you go on their details. It says value 10 million. Well, I'm going to put a release clause in there for 50 million because I know that I don't want to get rid of him. But if someone wants to pay 50 million for him, then I could do a lot of work with that. Yeah. And PSG, they were told, well, it's 226 million for Neymar, and they were like, all right, and they did it, and that. Money was inflating and it was going up a lot. We know this, but that move screwed football. Absolutely screwed football. Man United need a Vidic/Ferdinand/VVD, a leader. Yes, they do. I'm not being funny. There is one player who is not a leader at all, and that is Maguire. As far as I'm concerned.
Did you see him the weekend where he pulled Luke Shaw down?
Yeah, exactly. It's pathetic. Yeah, we are coming towards the end of the show anyway. But before we go, I just want to take a moment of silence for this. Gunnosaurus Rex. After
sorry, I failed at the moment of silence there. I was not expecting that. Mate, he made one last. If we sign Thomas Partey, he's made one last sacrifice for the club. What a legend!
Yeah, he has.
Can I just ask, whilst we've got Tom here, where did he actually think Chelsea are going to finish this season? What do you think? If no more signings, no more outgoings, everything stays as it is now for the rest of the season, what do you think Chelsea's prospects and where you're actually going to ultimately end up?
So before this weekend, I was really worried. For a number of reasons, I thought we didn't have a consistent shape. The players weren't necessarily coming in. But this weekend, and I know it's only one game, I can see what he's trying to do. For the first time, I can see what he's trying to do. I'm going to say, and I said this was my minimum expectation for the season, or my expectation for the season, top 4, preferably 3rd, a domestic cup, hopefully, which will now have to be the FA Cup, and quarterfinals of the Champions League. That's all I want, because we haven't got to the quarterfinals of a Champions League since 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a long time, yeah.
It hurts because we used to get there almost every season. We almost used to be more successful there than in the Premier League. But kind of become a bit kind of the opposite of that. A good team in the Premier League, but we never go far in Europe. Because for me, a Europa League's not a substitute for Champions League. And a quarter-final is not, win your group, get a nice draw, and you're in the quarterfinal. And the fact that we've not been able to do that since 2014 hurts. It really hurts.
Joe Willock's brothers just signed for QPR from Benfica.
Yeah, it was never that good anyway. Yes, that draws to a close our debate show episode 6. Big thank you for Tom Overend for joining us on the show. You can follow him on Twitter at tovers98, 98. Sorry, at tovers98. So make sure you follow him. Honestly, great entertainment. And if you're a Chelsea fan, you'll love it. You know, good debates, good chat he's got on there. You follow us all. We've all got our social media platforms, Two at Top Football or at GavMac23. You've got Dylan Murphy over there at Dylan Muffy21. And then Alex Osborne, who is Spanish Alex 85 or 1985?
I think it's 85, I think.
Just put in Spanish Alex and you'll find him. That's what you do. I'm sure it's 85. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Top Football on all social media platforms and www.youtube.com/Top Football. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, share, and subscribe, all that jazzmatazz. Download Soccer Manager 2021. It's available now on the App Store and on Google Play Store. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions to the show. And did you know, if you put Two Up Top into Google, our name comes up first. Thank you and goodbye.
Peace.